This week, Easter in Ethiopia and Spain, India's Olive Ridley turtles are nesting, and mammoth meatballs are here.
Over here! Hey, listen up!
Newsy Paloozy! Hello and welcome to Newsy Paloozy, the news pool for curious kids and adults. I'm your host, Leela Jean Capricket, and as ever, I'm joined by the Big Story Explainer Sound Effects Finder, otherwise known as my mama.
Hello, I'm Lindy Prickett.
This week, Happy Easter, everyone! You won't believe the differences in how it's celebrated around the world. We have special reports from Spain and Ethiopia. In India, it's nesting season for the beloved Olive Ridley turtles. We'll go to the beach for more on this story. And a mammoth meatball is unveiled in the Netherlands, and it's not just big, oh no. Plus, I know you've all been waiting for it, we'll reveal what last week's April Fool's story was. Turned out, we really did fool ya, oh yeah. Alrighty then, let's dive on in. First up, it's
the big news story
of the week.
On Sunday, Christians around the world will be celebrating Easter.
And it's not just a big spring holiday with lots of candy and Easter egg hunts.
Oh no, for Christians, it's all about the resurrection of Jesus Christ.
And resurrection means coming back to life, in case you didn't know.
Thank you. Well, last year we produced a special report giving you the lowdown on this religious holiday that also has pagan roots.
And most importantly, explain why we have an Easter bunny and not an Easter chicken for a festival that has an egg hunt at the center of it.
I know, crazy, right? So do visit our website or go back in your listening app library to episode 94 to learn all about the history of Easter. But this year, we wanted to know how other cultures celebrate this festival.
So we tapped into our network of kid correspondents. And guess who's moved to Ethiopia in East Africa?
Alina Tidwell, who used to be in Maryland, near Washington, D.C. in America.
That's a big move. And did you know Ethiopia is also one of the oldest Christian communities in the world?
Take it away, Alina.
Go, Alina.
Thanks, Leela. Yes, I now live in Ethiopia, which isn't anything like Washington, D.C. Did you know Ethiopia is considered to be one of the oldest Christian countries in the world? But Ethiopian Christians are Orthodox Christians, which is a little bit different. For a start, they celebrate holidays like Christmas and Easter more than a week later than I usually do. And there's no Easter bunny or egg hunts for candy. Oh no. In fact, Easter is pretty serious. So, because they believe they should suffer like Christ did before he died, they fast or observe Lent. That means about 6 weeks before Easter, they don't eat any animal products, including dairy and eggs. And the closer it gets to Easter, the fasting becomes more strict. The Thursday before, everyone begins eating food for sadness. Basically, they just eat bland boiled wheat. After that, no food or drink is allowed until Easter morning. That's tough. Luckily, the kids don't have to do this. But there is a little bit of fun. A kind of slumber party for the adults. Yes, Easter Saturday, they all sleep at the church. And at 3 a.m. Easter Sunday morning, the fast is broken and everyone shouts and cheers with loud ululating. I bet that's gonna wake me up. In Ethiopia, I'm Alina Tidwell reporting for Newsy Paloozy.
Thanks so much, Alina.
And in case you didn't know, ululate means to howl or wail, as an expression of strong emotion, typically grief.
It's fairly common in Africa and parts of Asia.
But Ethiopians ululate with their tongue tapping the roof of their mouth, while most people in Arab-speaking countries do it with their tongue moving side to side.
Well, I had no idea.
Stick with me, kid. We've got all sorts of fabulous facts. For instance, any idea how they celebrate Easter in the Catalonian region of Spain?
With yummy food, I would think?
That depends. Is chocolate a food?
Oh, yeah.
Well, then let's cut across to our Barcelona correspondents, Nina and Marky Graniena, to find out about this delicious twist on Easter.
One of the best things about Semana Santa, that's what we call spring break here in Catalonia, Spain. One of the best things is, of course, La Mona de Pascua. For those of you who don't know what it is, I can sum it up for you in 3 words. Amazing Easter chocolate. La Mona de Pascua is like a statue or a landscape or even a soccer ball made entirely from chocolate. Your godparents give it to you on Easter Monday, and then you break off pieces and eat it all week. There are many different theories about the origins of La Mona de Pascua. Some people say it's Latin, others say it's Greek. Well, Papa says Mona means present in Arabic, and in the olden days, Moors who had converted to Christianity would give their landlords a present after Easter, and it was called La Mona. Yes, and back in the olden days, those monas were not made out of chocolate. This I did not know. Yeah, they were made of bread, and they had eggs in them. Oh yes, eggs symbolize rebirth, and that's what spring is all about. And even today, in most parts of Spain, the monas you get are cakes, rather than chocolate statues. Another great thing about Catalonia, I guess. From Barcelona, this is Nina Graniena and Marky Graniena for Newsy.
OMG, that sounds amazing. Yum. Can we do Easter in Barcelona next year? Pretty please, please, with a huge monas on top.
What's that? I'll tell you what. That's the halftime bell, which means it's time to hear what's making news around the rest of the world. Hold on tight. It's
Around the World in 80 seconds.
Hold tight.
Donald Trump becomes the first U.S. president to ever be criminally indicted, as in charged with a crime. Trump pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to boost his election chances when he ran for office in 2016. Finland becomes the 31st member of the NATO Security Alliance, or club. This doubles the length of member states that border Russia. And it's a big setback for Russian President Putin, who'd repeatedly complained of NATO's expansion before his invasion of Ukraine. The biggest ever black hole is found. We're talking 33 million times the mass of the sun. It was detected using something called gravitational lensing. Luckily, it exists in a galaxy far, far away from us, about 2.7 billion light years from Earth. And happy birthday, cell phones. Any guesses how old this life-changing technology is? Well, engineer Martin Cooper made the first phone call 50 years ago on a Motorola Mobile. Of course, it looked more like a brick, but still, what a half a century of teletech it's been.
Well, thank you so much for that. Let's do a bouncy spring version today. That whippity-whippity-zippity-zappity rap of what's making headlines elsewhere in the world, Mama.
I love it. Anytime, Leela. And now it's time for... It's the call of nature.
Nature.
Get on your safari suit.
Or squeeze into your scuba gear.
And get ready to hop into a Jeep.
Or a submarine.
Submarine.
Because Mother Nature is calling.
Nature.
So, Mama,
So, Leela.
while it might be spring in the US and Europe, in most of India it's well and truly summer. And that means...
You're telling me that means heat, sweat, and lots of watermelon.
Right. And for most of India's students, it's also exam season. But that's not all.
No?
Oh, no. Here's a clue. It's something turtly awesome.
Oh, I think I know what you're getting at. Does it also happen to be turtle nesting season?
It sure is. For those of you who don't know, the endangered Olive Ridley turtles flock to the beaches of India's coastline every year from late January, in fact. all the way through April to lay eggs.
Yeah, and these turtles lay something like over 500,000 nests every year just on Indian beaches.
And as each of their nests contain around 100 eggs, well, that's a lot of turtle eggs every year.
Wait a minute. 500,000 times 100. Whoa, that's like
50 million. For more on this, let's cut across to our South Indian correspondent, Sahasra Sidar.
Thanks, you guys. You're right. The Olive Ridley turtles do lay a lot of eggs. But that doesn't mean they're easy to find, let me tell you. I should know, as I'm really fortunate to have actually seen some nests and held the sweet little sea turtles myself. See, the Ridleys waddle as far under the beach as they can, dig a burrow to lay their eggs in, then kick sand over the whole patch and pat it down. Meaning we have to look carefully for turtle tracks, find the covered area, then dig and dig to find the nests. Oh, and did I mention? The nests are shaped like a pot with a hollow neck about a foot deep with the eggs at the bottom. So when we collect the eggs, we need to stick our hand deep into the nest and try to fish them out. Get it? Fish them out? Sadly, despite so many hatchlings, it's estimated that only 1 in 1,000 turtles survive till adulthood. Why, you ask? Well, firstly, dogs and birds on the beach nab them. Yes, for dinner. Sometimes, even humans pick them up and try to keep them as pets, which is disastrous, as they need to expose their body to water or they'll dry up and die. But even in the ocean, there are predators, never mind oil spills and pollution, which suffocate them. So it's no surprise they're vulnerable, with some populations of them actually endangered. So if you ever get a chance to go on a turtle walk in your area, please do. In Chennai, this is Sahasra Sridhar reporting for Newsy Paloozy.
Thanks a lot, Sahasra.
Yeah, thanks a lot. By the way, any idea why they've got their funny name?
Actually, no.
Well, from the coloring of their heart-shaped shell, which starts out gray but becomes olive green once the turtles are adults.
And the Ridley bit?
Oh, that's easy. Ridley means a small turtle from tropical seas.
Ah, who knew? I thought the turtles told riddles. I'm learning so much from this episode.
Step right up.
Have a go at the lucky dip machine.
The lucky dip machine.
What's it going to be today, eh?
An oddball, no doubt.
An oddball, no doubt.
Oh, this is not just an oddball, it's a meatball, and a very odd one at that. Never mind gigantic.
Okay.
So you remember we did a story a few weeks ago in episode 135 about the woolly mammoth being resurrected, which we know from our Easter story is something coming alive again.
Well, to be clear, the DNA of an old woolly mammoth is being used to try and genetically recreate another modern-day version. But as we reported, that's gonna take a few years, so...
Oh, this isn't about the mammoth's return, but the meat inspired by it.
What?
So a museum in the Netherlands just revealed a giant meatball, as in the kind you eat with spaghetti, made from flesh of a woolly mammoth.
Why has that not really cleared anything up?
Because this is lab-made meat.
Ah, gotcha.
The meatball was created by an Australian cultured meat company called Vow, as in they vow to make meat in a lab, by using the DNA of an extinct woolly mammoth.
Interesting.
To be precise, the meatball was made of sheep cells inserted with a regular mammoth gene called myoglobin, not mygoblin, which is responsible for the smell, color, and taste.
Leela, are you sure we haven't been duped, as in tricked? Are you sure this wasn't an April Fool's story last week that the Lucky Dip machine spit out?
I'm sure the company swears it's no April Fool's joke. It says that it wants people talking about cultured meat, aka lab meat, calling it a more sustainable alternative for real meat.
Well, I guess they didn't pull the wool over your eyes then. Get it?
Oh, Mama, you can't resist the bad mom jokes, can you?
No, but neither can you, actually. Well, thanks for that report, Leela. Speaking of April Fools, it's time for us to reveal our scam story last week as we presented 5 wacky world news stories, 4 of which were real and 1 was an April Fool's.
Yes, and boy, did we fool you listeners.
We asked y'all to contact us with your guess about which one was the spoof story.
In fact, we even said we'd give away a free t-shirt to the 3 of you who got it right.
But of all the entries we have, we're stunned that only 2 of you got it right.
So congratulations to Crystal from California and Jacob from Dubai.
And for the rest of you, would you like to know which was the spoof story?
Drum roll, please. Of course, it was not Facebook and Insta getting sued by its own county. That's for real.
Nor was it the Snake Cafe in Malaysia.
Real, sadly, and horrible.
It wasn't the 2,400-year-old flushable toilet found in China either.
They really did find that, though it no longer works.
And as crazy as it sounds, making dresses from spare auto parts, that's real too.
Honestly, I'm not sure you could make that one up. It's so weird. So the Newsy Paloozy April Fool's story of 2023 was...
Pungent
Paints. Yes, we made that up.
And while it sounds plausible, paint that leaves a canvas smelling for 3 months like roses, freshly cut grass, apple pie, coffee,
or even fish. Ew.
It isn't real. But I like that y'all have such faith in innovation and creativity that you think it could be true.
Personally, I like that we fooled ya.
And it's time to wrap up the podcast with
the top 5 facts heard today.
Fab fact number 1. On Sunday, Christians around the world will be celebrating Easter, which marks the resurrection of Jesus Christ. What's resurrection mean? Coming back to life. Fab fact number 2.
East African nation of Ethiopia is one of the oldest Christian communities in the world. When they stop fasting on Easter morning, many start to ululate. What does that mean? To howl or wail as an expression of strong emotion, typically grief.
Fab fact number 3. It's nesting season for the Olive Ridley sea turtles in India. Each of their nests contains around how many eggs? 100. Fab fact number 4.
And how did these adorable sea turtles get their name? Olive for their shell color, and Ridley because it means tropical sea turtle.
Fab fact number 5. Researchers and lab meat experts make a giant meatball using the DNA from an extinct woolly mammoth. The meatball was made of sheep cells inserted with a singular mammoth gene, which is responsible for the smell, color, and taste, which is called what? Myoglobin. And don't forget, if you want to test yourself later on, then go to the Lucky Dip blog page of our website. That's newsypooloozy.com. Pooloozy spelt like Pooloozi. Online in your own time.
And that almost brings us to the end of this episode of Newsy Paloozy. If you enjoyed this dip in the coolest pool of news and information, then hit that subscribe button on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, Alexa, or wherever you get your podcasts.
While you're at it, give us a good rating, or better still, leave us a review. Go on, we'll read it out loud from next week if you do.
Alrighty then, see you next week in the happy splashy giant Newsy Paloozy.